Hi everyone, this is second grade everyday math lesson 6-7 partial sums edition part 1. Today we are going to work to solve 2 and 3-digit numbers using a new strategy called partial sums. This partial sum strategy is going to build on a strategy that we talked about last week, which was the combining tens and ones strategy. To start the strategy, what I want you to think about is how you can represent the numbers the 2-digit numbers or 3-digit numbers using base 10 blocks. Because we are working together on the computer and not together in the classroom, we don't have our physical base 10 blocks. So today, to represent our base 10 blocks, it will be using our base 10 shorthand. To represent 1 or a cube, I will just draw a dot. To represent 10 or a long, I will draw a line. And to represent 100 or a flat, I will draw a square, just as a reminder of what base 10 shorthand looks like. So now I'm ready to look at the number 45 plus 26. And I want to look at one set of those numbers first. So 45. I need to think about it in terms of tens and ones. So when I look at 45, I think about how many tens are there? Well, there's a 4 in the tens place. So that means 4 tens or 4 longs. I'm going to represent that right next to my number model there with 4 longs. I'm not done yet because there's also 5 in the ones place. So now I need to represent 5 cubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now I'm going to follow that same procedure with the number 26. It doesn't matter if I look at the tens place first or the ones place first. So let's look at the ones place first in this case. So I'm looking and there are 6 ones. So I'm going to represent 6 cubes. Now I'm ready to look at the tens place. There is 2 in the tens place. That means 2 tens or 20. So 2 longs. Now here's where the combining tens and ones strategy that we talked about last week comes into play. I'm going to start combining the tens and ones. I'm going to show that just by circling them all together. So remember, the longs show the tens. So I'm going to collect all of those together, and I'm going to show that by circling them. And I'm going to count up the tens. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tens. And that also represents 60. 6 tens is equal to 60. I'm going to do the same thing now with the cubes, the blocks that represent the ones. So I'm going to collect them, and I'm going to show that by circling them. And now I'm going to count up the ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There are 11 ones. Now, I'm not done yet. My answer is not 6,011. I have broken it down into 2 parts. So now what I still need to do is add 60 plus 11. I can work on this and I can use another strategy to solve this, or I can combine tens and ones. So 60 plus 10 is 70. 0 plus 1, that's 1. So now I'm going to add those 2 together and get 71. You might have noticed that here, when I had 11 cubes, I could make an exchange. And that's fine if you want to make the exchange that way, and you want to take this group of 10 and move it over here so that you have 70 represented in the tens and just 1 left in the ones. Whatever strategy works for you works for me. So let's review this partial sums addition strategy. In the last problem, we used blocks to find parts of the sum, or a partial sum. Then we added those partial sums together to find the total. Now the word partial, that's kind of a tricky word. It might be new for you, but I want to point out that the word part is in the word partial. And so when you think about that, you are finding the 2 parts that will make up the total. And then when you think about that, we're just using our part total strategy. So let's try this one more time, but using a 3-digit number. So remember, first, I want to represent my numbers using base 10 blocks. So I'm trying to add 112 plus 123. I'm going to represent 112 like this. I will represent the number 123 like this. Now I'm ready to collect my different sets of blocks. So I can start with the ones and move my way over to the tens and then the hundreds, or I can start with the hundreds and move my way backwards. But as we saw, sometimes you might have to make an exchange. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the ones in this case. So I collect the ones and I count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm ready to move on to my tens. 1, 2, 3, 3 tens, that is equal to 30. And now with a 3-digit number, it's the same as with a 2-digit number. I'm just needing to collect an extra set of blocks. So I'm going to collect my hundreds. I have 2 flats. 2 flats is equal to 200. I'm not finished yet because I do need to go ahead and add all of these together because each of these are one part of our total. They are all partial sums. So now I'm ready to go ahead and add 200 plus 30 plus 5. I know using my strategies that I can look at the number in each of the places to get to my final answer, which is equal to 235. You're going to practice this strategy on your own today in your math journal. You're going to turn to page 155 in your math journal. In your math journal, the first thing it asks you to do is fill in the unit box. Remember, you can choose anything. And then you're going to solve each of the problems represented on the page using those base 10 blocks. You'll use base 10 shorthand to show what you did, just like I did in the video. Then down here at the bottom where it says answer, you will record your partial sums. The first one is done for you. You'll do number 1, 2, and 3 on your own. You can take a picture when you're finished and send it to Mrs. Joyce in the class dojo. If you have any questions or comments, you can always reach out to me. Have a good day.